The next case study or sort of news item I want to talk about is AI-driven priority-based budgeting. And a few counties of cities have been doing that. Collier County, Florida, identified 22% of its budget for reallocation using AI insights. Wonder how they did that. My theory would be that priority-based budgeting is more than just flipping a switch and telling AI to do it. I think it requires a strategic framework for analyzing historical spend, historical budgets, community feedback, financial data, policy goals, looking at the macro environment for the economy, and again everything that is coming down the pipe from federal initiatives like DOGE. Um, and again, I think it goes back to again the boring stuff: processes for implementing changes and communicating them to the public. AI is a tool. AI enabled X, Y, and Z will help you, but it won't unless you have the right frameworks in place. So cool. They've identified 22% of budget for reallocation. Excellent. And if I were doing this, I would think you need to feed a model historical budget information and then get feedback. It's really cool. I mean, someone asked me the other day, how do we learn about more about AI? It really is on you. We can do seminars and we can do live streams like this, but if you're not educating yourself, and there's a lot of avenues of doing this, go on YouTube, go on our channel, go on several other channels that are out there, and just dive deep. Spend your own time. Don't expect your employer to just set up a classroom setting for you to learn about AI. Do it. It's out there for you. Questions coming in. What about, hang on. Are the requirements gathering processes the same for ERP and AI systems? Oh, great question. So requirements gathering itself is changing, right? We're going away from Excel-based 10,000 line items on things that used to matter 20 years ago, but they don't anymore, right? You need to make it focused on outcomes. So it's changing anyway. How do you put ERP and AI systems together and ACM systems? Start with the outcomes. Once again, you don't need to go down to how you want this AI enabled system to get to the outcome for you. But if you're not clear on the outcomes, you're not going to get any AI to do the thing for you. We've been trying to automate several things again at Avero, and it's helped us learn about AI a lot. Because if you are to believe any of the live streams or videos online or YouTube channels that I just talked about, it seems so simple. You just take the thing and you assign it to an AI agent and you do it in make.com or N810 or Nathan, I don't know how you call it, and the thing just does the thing. But there are so many moving parts, so many nuances to it. You need to really understand how APIs work. You need to understand how data cleanliness is important, because if you're feeding the AI LLM garbage data, it's going to understand garbage data. It's going to come up with garbage outcomes for you. So requirements really start with outcomes, and then you break it down. You really chunk it down into what does it mean. Let's take an example. We've been trying to automate our RFP analysis process internally, meaning our business development or strategic growth team looks at hundreds of RFPs every year. They read hundreds of RFPs. Then we decide which ones to go after. And we're trying to automate that process using AI. So the first pass of that was, here's 100 RFPs, read them and tell us which ones we should pursue based on what you know about Avero. And it got it all wrong. It was it was in the ballpark, but it wanted us to chase engineering and architecture RFPs. It said no to some that were squarely in our ballpark or in our wheelhouse. And so we've had to do a lot of thinking about what outcomes mean and how do you break those down. So skills like process analysis, requirement definition, strategic planning, documentation, those are not going away anytime soon, because AI systems want you to tell them exactly how you want them to think. And you can do that only when you do things like process mapping, because really you need to break it down and chunk it down for them before they can make useful automations with it. What about proof of concept or a phased approach to agentic AI? Is that something you'd recommend in the public sector? Absolutely. It needs to be a phased approach. And the way I would phase it is, one, find out where you stand. Where are you in terms of your maturity as far as AI is concerned, and what can you take on? That's step one. And then you should be doing some pilot testing. Pick a small process, pick a small project, and do a pilot. See how it works before you let AI run amok in your organization. Should there be a standardized regulations across agencies for data sharing, or does each agency need its own tailored approach. I don't know if regulation is the right word. I think there are standards for data sharing, and it's a good question in the end because you want eventually to be able to regionalize some processes, some outcomes, right? You have a lot of regional agencies, councils of government that we work with that would love to have standardized data and access to data for their member agencies. But again, it comes down to basics. There's several different data standardization methodologies out there that have been around for a while, and that I was going to say they still apply, but really they're more relevant now because again, if your data is not pristine, if it's not standardized for an agentic system to understand, yes, you can train it on unstructured data, but now you're just talking about adding more time and effort and money to the process. Hopefully, I answered that question. But let's go back to what cool things are happening in AI in local government. So we talked about document processing and priority-based budgeting. Shouldn't every budget be priority-based? And then AI-powered resident chatbots. So chatbots have been around for a while, right? You've had static chatbots. It's almost like an IVR tree where you used to, tell the chatbot exactly what to do. And now you have generative AI chatbots that crawl your website and learn about your business and become this intelligent conversation with anyone coming to your website. Again, needs to be trained because you don't want a chatbot making up stuff on your website. But chatbots are handling several things, and I think as you think about the labor shortages and how some industries are not able to backfill positions, it's really important to understand the context of chatbots and phone-based customer service reps that are not non-human. They're, agents. Training them is really important, but I think agencies like public housing or utilities, this is where you're going to see agentic chatbots and customer service reps deployed. The first wave of this is happening today. You might be speaking to an AI agent on the phone and not know that you're speaking to an AI. But it's scary, but it's cool for agencies like again public housing that have customers that speak several different languages, right? We have clients in the Bay Area, for example, and if you go to their offices, you'll see that they have all the notices in 15 or 20 different languages. So how do you staff a customer service frontline when you are dealing with that many languages? This is where AI is going to play a huge role. Because if I'm calling and I don't speak English, I can ask for my native language. And on your end as a client, you don't necessarily have to build a specific IVR call tree for this. You can just train an AI customer service thing to do it for you. And I say thing because it can be anything. It can be a chatbot, it could be a phone system, it could be an app, but it comes down to training. So they might look flashy or might look new. Like I said, chatbots have been around. It's kind of been the first advent of AI. But really, if they don't integrate with your CRM or ticketing software or ERP or HRM, HRIS, it's not going to work. Maintaining data security and having an escalation process, right? AI can get lost in the loop. So how do you, as a human, then once you realize you're not talking to a human, how do you get it to point you to a human? Again, comes down to training. Questions coming in. Does the average local gov AI IT team have the bandwidth to handle the maintenance of the chatbot? Should the IT team be handling the chatbot? Is the real question. And if yes, then they need to make the bandwidth, right? So website management sort of falls in this weird category within local governments that we've served. Not 100% across the board, but in some county organizations, we've dealt with a website that was built 20 years ago by an IT person that just exists. It's like it's a step above from a stone tablet. And when they start taking on the redesign of the website, the question is often asked: Should IT be doing this, or should this be in PR or communications or some other organization? And I think the answer is both. I think IT should own the platform, obviously, and today you don't have to build a website from scratch. You have great platforms like Civic Plus or some others that allow you to just deploy your website quickly and using templates. But again, the key in a project like that depends on what data are you going to put in there, right? So IT is not the best equipped to come up with the copy for the website. They're not the best equipped to, if you're using a third party uh, web developer, your IT people may not be the best people to manage that process because they're responsible for technology, not the words that show up on your website. And I'm speaking about website because chatbots will live on your website, and you need to integrate that into your website. So who does that? Who trains the chatbot? I think that could be IT, but the copy of the website, the data that the chatbot is supposed to be trained on, how it talks to people, there needs to be collaboration between IT and other departments. Will chatbots ever be able to replace human decision making in complex scenarios, or will they always need a human in the loop? It depends. Will they be able to replace human decision making? Yeah, but should we be trusting that in like high stakes processes? I think human in the loop is really, really important. Going back to our example of trying to automate the RFP decision making process, we need a human in the loop because I don't trust the automation yet. When it gets good, we'll decide. But the final decisions need to be made by humans in that example. So it depends on what the process is and what you're trying to get um, a an AI agent to do. Many ERP vendors claim to have AI-driven insights. How do we separate real AI capabilities from marketing buzzwords? Use the word vendor. I got a lot of grief the other day from a friend of ours for using vendor, and it got me thinking. I just posted a video yesterday on vendors versus software providers, partners. Vendors is kind of transactional. But anyway, to your question, how do we separate real AI capabilities from marketing buzzwords? There's a lot of marketing buzzwords. It's super easy to create a mock-up of a thing that you're going to build in the future. Vaporware used to be a thing. I mean, it still is. That phrase is used for things that don't exist that you're selling. You can easily create marketing on Canva. You can get AI to create you a product brochure and start selling it before you actually have built it. So, word of caution, when you're looking at demos and software providers are telling you that this great thing's coming down, this is no different from our advice to our clients and prospects over the years. If you can't see it in a demo, if they can't show you a use case, it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as it'll be here by the time you go live next year. Same thing applies here. So, if someone claims to have built something that's cool, make him show you. Next question is, I want to know if procurement can be replaced completely by AI. Can be? Yes. Should it? Probably not. And I think we either released or about to release a deep dive into procurement systems on YouTube. Go check it out. It'll tell you the nuances. That in that video, I walked through the whole process on how to automate or modernize your procurement processes. And there's several parts of the process where human in the loop is going to be really important, right? You're talking about spending government taxpayer dollars, and you really want to make sure that leave AI aside. Your processes should be automated. You should be using modern systems to do things like budget checks and making sure that you're not overspending your authority and things like that. But when you layer AI on top of that, you can you can make things even more automated. You can make better decisions on how to budget for certain things, right? How many sweatshirts did we buy last year for Parks and Rec? How many were we budgeted for? How much did we spend with a particular vendor? And you can use that in your budgeting process that then dictates how procurements run, and how efficiently you're doing things like inventory control and minimum order quantities and things like that. So if procurement can be replaced completely, possibly, but should it? Probably not, right? And eventually it'll come down to human preference. A lot of the things that we do today will be replaceable by AI, including this live stream. Like, I can make a video today of myself speaking, and it's not me. They've taken my videos and created my avatar, and it looks a little funny, but can be done. But should it be done? Because I think people tune in to hear from the human, not robots.